2, 1. Hi, good morning, Pinecrest families. This is Principal Jamie Curtis, and I'm here today with our student behavior support specialist who will serve as our coach and our parent liaison, Carol Davis.
Hey guys.
How are you this morning, Carol?
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to share some really valuable information with our parent community. I know all of us have so many questions about what school is going to look like this fall, and really look forward to hearing from you in terms of some support strategies that we can put in place even now as we prepare ourselves and our students for the fall. All right. So, will you talk to us about, you have a lot of titles. You're wearing a lot of hats this year at Pinecrest. Will you talk to us about some of the work that you'll be doing and what your goals are with that work?
Absolutely. I've served as a behavior coach, behavior liaison, and behavior support specialist this year. As we look at the year at a glance, it was really quick to adapt. We talked about being flexible and having to be adaptable. And as I looked at how I could serve our community, our teachers, and our students, that took a little bit of a turn this year. So instead of focusing on behavior in the classroom, I wanted to really focus on what is best for our students and how can we implement support for our families and our greater community to help our students excel in the classroom. So we've put together a series of supports for our families as we move forward, and I'm going to be discussing them today.
That's fantastic. We are so thankful to have you, and can't wait to hear more of what you have to share. So I understand that part of this is you really have been thinking about some of the needs and some of what has transpired this year that might be on the forefront of our students' minds and our families' minds. So will you talk a little bit about what's been going on and how that's shaped the work that you're going to do?
Absolutely. Well, really, I want to look at the communique that we just published for our families that breaks down how we're going to support them. And I want to go over what does that mean? What do those words mean, those phrases, and what is it going to look like for me as a parent? So I want to go really do a brief overview of our commitment to serving our community. Most importantly, I want to make sure that we are meeting our families where they are,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to technology. We want to make sure when we put our supports in place that we're able to help a family that maybe have no computer experience. Maybe families have experience, but we just need to go over our login information. So we want to make sure that we're covering that whole spectrum of support for our families. But more importantly, how can we team up together to help our students as families and as educators together, both in the home and on campus? We'll be looking at what it's going to look like when they come to campus. There's a lot of new things happening. Not only is this community new for us, the school is new for us, but school is going to look very different. One way to really kind of negate behaviors is to make sure that we set up expectations and we communicate and we have transparency across the board. That's really important for our students because we can take care of behaviors before they begin to surface in open communication. How can I prepare my child? We're going to be looking at how we help the little ones with independence as they get onto campus.
Yeah. This is fantastic. Can't wait to hear more of what you have to share in each of these areas. So let's get into it. Let's dive right in and let's share some of these tips with our families. And share. I know you've put together some examples that you're going to share with us, and just some great ideas to give us a baseline understanding of supports we can put in place. So let's jump right in.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be using my technology ability, which is swiveling my screen. So that's where. Thanks for meeting me there and doing this the way we're doing it. I want to, before I move across, I'm going to actually walk around the room. But before I move over, I just want to make sure that two things are covered. This is not ideal for anybody. This is really difficult. And if we're feeling it as adults, you can be assured that our children are, even if they're not presenting it in ways that we think, the way that we think or the way that we would present it, but they're still feeling it. So when we get into this is not ideal. I want us to keep an open mind. I want us to make sure when we communicate with our children that we're being positive and excited, because if we are, they are too. And as we look at setting and establishing our spaces, I want us to try and involve our students, try and involve our kids, because if they're involved in setting it up and designing it, that's fun. They'll have that investment in it, they will own it, and then they will understand what that space is used for. So those are little few tips as we begin the process here. So I'm just going to go around and begin. So how can we begin to look at this space? So first of all, I want you to designate the space that you're going to use for home learning. I want you to select that. I want it to be clear clutter and distractions. And then I'm going to bring you in here as I show you a little bit of clutter, because my room's all set up for this presentation. But so what we're doing in our home is we are looking at how we can integrate that space as a family and start to hone in on learning to sit down and focus on a skill and on a task. In our home, I have a kindergartner that is ready to go this year. So we're doing game show board games. We're doing some different puzzles. We're introducing some educational puzzles as well. It may look like some tablet time. Maybe as a family, you sit down together and you read. Maybe it's coloring. Maybe it's drawing, designing. Maybe you decide to take the Play-Doh to the table. This will help your students start to navigate and get ready to sit down and be still and be focused and ready to learn.
So important.
Absolutely. And as we look at our spaces, I want to, again, remind people, remind our families that we are going to get ready in the morning and we are going to get dressed and ready in our uniforms at our learning space as we engage in our classrooms. This is really important for a few reasons. One, we are a community. We are all together. We wear the same cloth. And being away, being online at home and not being in the classroom, that's hard for the teachers. It's hard for the students that are here. It's hard for that cohort that is home. So this pulls us back in together. So some things that my student will be ready in their uniform. If you are worried about engaging online, there are some little glasses and things that we can help with screen time to help block out some of that blue light. Again, these are all suggestions. These are all tips, tricks. These are not necessities. You do not have to run out and buy these. I just want to let some people know that they're available. My student, again, we don't really need to necessarily sanitize within our home multiple times a day. However, it is great practice to start that at this station, because when they wear this uniform and they're going to be learning in school, guess what, guys? This is going to be part of that ritual as they move forward. I also bought some tech wipes to make sure that I'm keeping my electronics clean. And I'm going to move across to I'm going to have to adjust here for a second, what that learning space could look like. So for me here, I have a tablet and a keyboard that I have been able to sync in through Bluetooth. Maybe it is a laptop. I have sat here yesterday. I had my phone in here and I was able to work through a meeting yesterday with just my cell phone in there. So it can look different for different families, and that is okay. All of these different means of engaging into the classroom are all perfectly fine. They'll still be able to see their teachers. They'll still be able to see their classrooms. And ordinarily, we wouldn't have the clutter on the back end, which I'm coming around to then show you some more tips and tricks. Okay, so again, we've designated a learning space. We are free of clutter and distractions. And now that we've selected what we want to begin to use, we want to look at suggestions and tips on how we can look at our classroom and how we can imitate that at home. So there's a lot of things here that I'm very, very excited about. So as we look at our classrooms, we're going to be doing math, we're going to be doing arts, we're going to be doing literature. These are all little things that we can look at home to help our spaces. So let me talk about it briefly. Our students are very used to using up these math blocks for counting, adding on, and guess what? I've got Legos. That's the exact same thing. We've got 5 and 5. Kids love it. These ones, you will notice there's some fractures. Fractions, I'm so sorry. Fractions. They can also be added and written on the side of building blocks. Alphabet can be written on building blocks so that they're able to look at sight words. Manipulatives for counting. I have some fun trucks in here. I have a boy. I've got some buttons. Maybe you've got some buttons lying around the home. In the dollar store, we have these little pom-poms that are used for art. That's a great, unique, cool way to have fun with math. And guess what? It's okay if you don't have these things. We have pea pasta that is possibly not a favorite in our home. And guess what? We've got a lot left over. Spinach pasta and kale. So delightful. Well, we're going to use that for our math today. And we're going to count and have some fun with swirls. It's all about fun. We have some abacus here. That's not a problem. You don't have an abacus? Guess what? Pipe cleaner and beads. We're going to slide those down that line. You will also notice for littles that I have done some printables. I have a reference chart for the alphabet. I have a hundreds chart for counting. And I have a number line. Again, if you do not have the access to a printer, guess what? Don't worry about it. Talk to your teacher, communicate. Teachers are already prepping. If there's ever an adaptable bunch of people, it is teachers. They are ready to go and support in any way they can. Look what I've also done. I got a letter in the mail, just a sheet of paper, and I used a reference guide and I created my own alphabet so that my student can use as a reference. And older students, so we've got a grab and go packet for our older students. They're a little bit more independent. I have a set of headphones in here. So although we do need, headphones are great. Obviously we're plugging them into our electronic devices and it allows us to focus in and hear what everybody's saying. But I actually use these unplugged at time of instruction or time of silent work at home, because it's a great way to just block out and continue that focus level that we talked about. If your students have sensitivities, these ones are really soft and padded. They're leather. They were got in that little dollar section at the front of Target. You can get ones that are foam. So really just when you're shopping for your student or you're looking at these things, take that into consideration as you look about. Again, I've seen these as low as $3, seen them that these particular pairs $5. I have a book in here. I have a calculator. I have a timer. Sometimes we look at reading and we time that out as they move forward. I've got some fun pens. And again, I have 100 blocks and 10s and 1s to assist. And again, that is okay, because guess what? We have some pea spinach pasta, so we don't need to be concerned with having maybe some official things. As we move across to communication in the classroom, I have a whiteboard that we are used to seeing to communicate in our classrooms, but now when we are looking at engaging our students remotely, we may have situations where the teacher is asking a question, there's assignment, and we want the student to show their work. We want to engage with our students. If you don't have a whiteboard, guess what? That is okay. I have a table mat that works great. I have a tub lid that just happens to be white and clear. I can use dry erase on that. Erase pockets. These can be found in the dollar store. They can be found again at that front section of Target, and they can be found in Walmart. If you don't have it and you don't have the means, guess what? It is fine. We're adaptable. I have paper. You will notice that when we're communicating on that choosing your means of communication is really, really important to be seen on the screen. So as you have that paper, think about that as we communicate. I have everything from a basic pencil to a number 2 pencil to a pen to a thin Sharpie to a thicker Sharpie, so that I can communicate across that screen and make sure that my teacher sees my very, very important work. Again, as we move forward, I want to make sure that we're able to communicate. There will be times that we're going to ask your students to mute, because the instruction, we want to make sure that everybody's involved, everybody can hear, and we're not going to have any of that background noise involved. Well, guess what? We're still going to engage our kids. We're still going to make it fun. So we had a little craft project last night, my son and I, in preparation, and we thought of, well, what would we need to communicate to our teachers? Now, some of your teachers may have fun ideas for this. Again, when you start to prepare your space, reach out to your teacher. You can work together. What do we need? Well, I want to be able to turn around and tell my classmates, thumbs up, that's a great job, I love it. Or the teacher may ask a question, does everybody understand? Yay, I understand. Maybe they have a little question. Maybe they want to speak out. Maybe they're just communicating back, you know what, I don't really get that. Could you do that again? Could you repeat that? Or maybe we have a classroom celebration and we are going to clap. So these are just popsicle sticks. I literally printed on some cardstock. We cut and worked and made these so that we can have some fun with our online and communicate with our family.
I love that. That is just such a fantastic way to engage from home in the virtual setting. That is fantastic.
Absolutely. Oh, I have one more thing. See, I'm so excited. I totally forgot about some very important things, so let me get you back up here. So, As we set up our space, and this should have been discussed at the beginning, I am so sorry, guys, but I have set up some important things for us. So I'm going to have a checklist in my space. And my checklist, I'm going to have my usernames, my password, make sure we're ready to go. I'm going to have a visual daily schedule. Sometimes knowing what comes next and how long I'm going to be in something, again, can stop certain behaviors from surfacing and have them relax, knowing what's happening. Brain breaks, really important. That's a lot of sitting, guys. We're not used to this for so long. Normally, we have that short summer period, but it's been extended for so long. This is going to be new for our students. So we want to, again, meet them where they are and have some brain breaks. What that is going to look like in my house, there's enough time going to be spent on the tablet and the computer for these classes. So I'm going to take my student outside. We're going to get some fresh air. We're going to get those wiggles out so that we can back in, we can rest, and we can get relaxed and get ready to learn. Check-in. I've got a check-in on my list. I want to check on my student at the beginning of the day. Okay, so let's get us logged in. Is there anything you need from me? How can I help you get established? How can we get you set up into the classroom? Something that is very, very important, and I hope this is coming across the screen, is charge your devices. I haven't checked that because that's something I'm going to do at the end of the day before bedtime. So at nighttime, we walk around our house, we lock our doors, we check our cars. I'm going to add charging devices to make sure that we're ready to go for the next day, because those students that are home learning, they're going to get so excited to see their classmates and their friends that I don't want to miss out. I don't want it to be because I forgot to charge that device, so I'm going to make sure it's on there. At the end, I'm going to skip this for right now, but at the end of the day, I'm going to reflect. I'm going to sit down with my students and I'm going to say, so how was today? What was hard? Mm-hmm. How did you overcome that? What did you do to make that a little bit easier for yourself? How can I help? How can we make tomorrow successful? The other thing I want to do is I want to celebrate my student, because we can help with that at home. We can help to make sure that we are seeing the behaviors we want to see. So I'm going to celebrate that my 5-year-old sat in a chair engaged for 20 minutes. Yay! I am going to celebrate that he got the courage to ask his first question in the classroom. These are new teachers, new classmates, and a new environment. I'm super excited that he asked a question online. And guess what? I'm going to celebrate because his teacher complimented his neat and tidy work when he displayed it on screen. So again, checklist, making sure you've got everything prepped and ready in a visual place for your student. And yes, let's celebrate our students as they work through the juggle between learning online and learning in the classroom.
That is fantastic. I think this is so helpful for families who might also be working from home while they're trying to manage this distance learning piece. And I think just having these strategies in place, having the space ready to go, and helping set up those expectations will really help facilitate what that hybrid learning looks like at home. So thank you so much for sharing this.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, we have a designated space that we can use permanently, and that's okay if you don't. You can pack it into a little crate, or you can carry your caddy. I actually have a neighbor who likes the fresh air and outdoors. He works in his garage. The door is open. I know that when he is his back to us as neighbors, because he loves to wave, he's engaged in the classroom and he's in the class learning. And when he's facing forward, breathing in that fresh air, I also know that he's able to wave because he's working independently. And I love that. That's so creative. It meets the student where they are, right, what his needs are, and he's able to focus better there. And sometimes that's what it's about. I've showed so many things, but here's the deal, guys. Whatever you're choosing to set up is right for you. Reach out. This is new. We're not teachers, right? We're parents. We've got these children, and now this is new. But get them involved. Get them excited. Get excited yourself. Have them involved in setting it up. And really, they will jump in. They will love it. They will enjoy setting up their little space. And then they will know its purpose as they move forward for instruction.
Carol, we've had some families ask about the school supply list. So there's items that we're asking the students to bring to class to have. What is your recommendation on what they need at home? Is that something they should reach out to the teachers about, or should they be purchasing 2 of everything? What are your thoughts?
Okay, absolutely. That is a great question, and I love the questions that are coming from our families because it keeps us on our toes and lets us respond. But absolutely, that is something that you will work with a classroom teacher. The teacher will know what's being assigned on those other days, Do not go out and purchase extra supplies. These supplies are for your student and your student alone. We're not sharing these items. So as we gather things up, the teacher may set stuff aside and send it back, or may communicate directly to you, okay, so you had 2 boxes of pencils on your list, keep one at home. Or she may say keep 6 at home. That will be between you and the teacher, just to make sure that you have everything you need. Please do not go out and spend more money. That list is there for your student, and that will be suffice.
Perfect. Thank you so much. What should parents do if they have any questions? I know we're going to be sharing more information over the summer, but if after watching this video, can parents reach out to you directly via email if they have questions, or maybe want to find out where you got some of your awesome home learning supplies?
Yes, absolutely. Reach out. I love engaging with families. It's my favorite thing to do. I love being creative and problem solving. That is one of my strengths. So please share the load. We are here for you. Everything is going to be fine. We just need to take that deep breath and know that we're teaming up to help our students.
Fantastic. Well, Carol, thank you so much for joining us today and to share these tips and tricks to set up our home learning. We can't wait to engage with you next week as we talk about more strategies for preparing for a successful upcoming school year. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.